So this is a long overdue video, but I thought it's time after construction and a lot of upgrades to this to actually take a tour of my DIY sim racing rig. This entire setup was originally designed to go into a shelf space in the bonus room of my house. The problem is I could never actually get a network cable installed there. I tried running it through the roof and just the angles, couldn't really get it there. It was very difficult to get a network outlet set, so wound up moving this whole project to the garage. Just to give you an idea of the space I'm working with, this is where this whole module slides into. It's a very narrow space, but it's purposely built to fit this whole console. And again, that's why I put wheels on it, just to get it into this space. During the original build of this project, I was setting everything up to fit me as the driver and where I was going to be most comfortable. Everything from the layout of the button boxes, shifter, and wheel was all designed with me in the seat. Let's start with the brains of this entire console. This is my new PC build I just finished this fall. It's a new case that combines some old parts and new parts. It's based on a B550 wireless motherboard with a Ryzen 9 processor, 64 gigs of RAM, and an RTX 4060 Ti graphics card. This is an upgrade from what I was running, which is my 2020 MacBook Pro running Windows on Boot Camp, through an eGPU with an RX 580 graphics card. Coming around to the front of the rig, this whole thing is built around a Moza R9 V2 wheelbase with a quick disconnect hub and an actual steering wheel for my old hobby stock I used to race. I have two custom button boxes built in here, a Moza shifter and Fanatec CSL Elite Pedals. The seat is actually a Playseat mobile rig that I disconnected from the frame and bolted down. Having that in place, it's a lot more comfortable than the old rolling office chair I always used to use. Looking at the right side of the rig on the dashboard and center console, I have two custom button boxes built, the top one featuring my starter, ignition, and reset button, as well as menu navigation and select buttons. The bottom box features all of the black box buttons, each labeled for which black box it controls, along with a USB hub that I can plug different things into. I've got a phone cord, I can plug fans or different things into that. This also features my Moza R9 sequential shifter, which I use for a few buttons to manipulate some controls, but mainly just how solid this shifter is. It's really good for every vehicle. Went with the sequential shifter just because obviously I drive the Cup car and it fits it both. Moving on to monitors, I've got a 40-inch TV mounted as my primary monitor that I use when I'm actually racing. New to this year is the secondary monitor I've mounted above it. That just gives me a place to monitor live streaming, Discord, anything else I have going on during an actual race. I'd love to run triples here, but again, because the space I'm running in is so narrow, I can only do single monitor. So this 40-inch does a pretty good job of capturing everything I need and giving me good visual. Talking a little bit more about the construction of the actual platform, this is something new I did, was added casters to this whole setup so that I can move this in and out. Before, when I had the old eGPU behind it, it wasn't a big deal. But now that I actually have a PC built back behind this module, I want to be able to get to it when I need to just kind of clean it off, remove the dust. So putting this whole platform on casters just helps me able to move this around and get a little bit more out of it. This is just a 2x4 frame with a piece of plywood on it, carpet covering it, and then a skirt around it to hide the wheels and stop stuff from rolling under it. 2x4 framing for the rear of it, and then this just plywood boxes basically built for what is the center console and for the dashboard. If we come around to the back, you can see this is all just 2x4 framing that holds the platform, holds the PC in place, and holds all the mounting for the monitors. Alright, so here it is, full setup tucked back into its corner. Again, having the casters on this really makes it simple to move this thing in and out. When I need to clean off the dust grates on the PC, it's very easy to slide this out and do that. If I need to change any connections or if any connections become loose, makes it a million times easier. Where before I was having to unscrew the dashboard, get down in there. Now I can roll this out and reach in if I need to change anything. It's really comfortable. I mean, I've raced on this pretty much since the Spring Martinsville race last year is when I really kind of had the base of this set up. The whole thing was on the floor previously. Didn't have the second monitor though, didn't have a lot of the extra peripherals, so having this all set up and in a modular system that I can move this around, it's a really solid setup. It feels really good. I love this Moza R9 base. The force feedback on it is super strong. I have to actually dial it back a little bit, but it gives a good feel of the racetrack and gives a good idea of what exactly the car does or doesn't need. So, enjoying this setup. It's fun to race on. The most exciting thing now that I have a PC that will actually manage this whole system, I can start live streaming races again. Going to start doing some broadcasts this year, so really looking forward to how this is all going to work. I do have plans drawn for this on AutoCAD. If someone was interested in basically rebuilding this whole setup, I could share those and put them out there. Go build your own sim rig and let's go racing.